Welcome to No Makes TV. I've just spent 5 figures on Porsche parts to get my wrecked 911 Little Irish back on the road. Here's where the money's gone. Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode documenting the rebuild of my ruined 911 Little Irish. The sun is shining, spring is very much on its way, and with the roads finally drying out and the salt disappearing, the lovely, lovely cars can come out to play. And for me, that includes my 996.2 GT3. It is my daily at present. As you can see, it's not the most practical daily in the world, but it is without a doubt the most exquisite. I've done 1,000 miles in this car in the last 9 days. That is a trend I very much hope will not continue, because it is not what this car is for or indeed about, but needs must at the moment because, as you well know, Little Irish is dead and off the road. In the past couple of weeks, I've spent about £15,000 on Porsche parts for Little Irish. That really is as painful to say as it was to execute at the time, I can tell you. In today's episode, we're going to show you where exactly that money has gone on parts and on some engineering as well, as we hope to move the project along and with any luck get Little Irish back on the road at some point soon, because I absolutely cannot be using this GT3 like a van as I have done for the past couple of weeks. In the several weeks since I sent my engine casings up north, I had the cylinder heads taken to a trusted local engineering shop to crack test them, as well as carry out some skimming. More on that later. The next step was to go through the long list of parts on my spreadsheet of doom and decide where was the best place to buy the various parts from, striking a balance between frugality and quality. Frugality? For example, the manufacturer gaskets are made by L-Ring, which were available from Heritage Parts Centre, along with a host of other components. I made sure to use the code 9WEX10 at the checkout, which I've long promoted on this channel, which gets you up to 10% off your basket, though you do need to be logged in to the Heritage website for it to work. While other purchases were made via Sharkworks in the States, the majority of stuff I got from Porsche Centre Bournemouth, one of the 5 classic partners in the UK, because as we found out during my costings video in this series, most Porsche parts are actually cheaper direct from Porsche rather than your usual third-party distributors online. I wanted to investigate this a little more, so while a van with in excess of 10 grand's worth of Porsche parts with my name on the order was winging its way to Bahnsport, I popped to the centre for a quick chat with Aaron, service quality specialist and gold technician at Porsche Bournemouth for the last 14 years. The breadth of parts availability for classics, far wider than I'd realised. Has that back catalogue of parts always been so large, or is that something that's developed latterly?
I think it's been a fairly recent thing. So over the last maybe 5 or 6 years, Porsche have had a real kind of big thing about classic, and they're trying to obviously get more classic cars back to Porsche centres and just generally more customers with their classic cars. So they started releasing more and more classic parts, like I say, around 5 years ago, I think. And you may know about the Originale books. So they release those, I think, maybe twice a year now. And if you look through those, you'll find a massive parts section in those. And that's all of the new parts that they're releasing.
Okay.
So they're essentially re-releasing loads and loads of classic parts. Some of them are original parts that they used to supply and no longer supplied, and some of them are now almost like retrofit parts. So one of the big ones a few years ago was LED lights in the classics. So that's kind of a new thing that they've added, and then they've reintroduced things like shock absorbers for the older cars. So you can now get all genuine shock absorbers for 3.2 and things like that. So there's a real mix, but I'd say that's definitely the biggest thing.
With Porsche Centre Bournemouth being a classic partner, from a parts point of view, what sort of leg up does that give you over other centres, do you feel?
Being a classic centre, we do have a lot of classic training now, so I'm one of 2 classic technicians, and we have Nick in the workshop, who I'm sure a lot of people know. He's now qualified as classic. So we've kind of got a little bit of expertise there to help customers, if they are struggling with what parts they need. We're more than happy to help them, and also we're here to support our parts team as well. If they're ever unsure of something, they just come and grab us out the workshop, and we'll give them a hand with all of the different parts that they might possibly need.
With that in mind then, where you're saying there's been like an increase in the availability of parts, you guys as a classic partner have got the knowledge here. How has that translated into like an increase in orders of classic car parts and classic owners coming to the centre over the last few years?
I think there's definitely been some cases of some historic customers who have maybe dropped off using us for parts because we can't get certain things, and now customers, they may just call up for some service bits for a classic car. They've then asked about other parts for some repair work they want to do, and I think we have started to slowly get more and more bits in, and then they are coming back to us now and buying more parts of us, because we can actually provide them now rather than before. The
big surprise for me in ordering all of the parts for the rebuild of my car is the parts, in many scenarios, they are cheapest from Porsche.
A lot of the parts that you find online can be genuine parts that are being resold, so that might explain as well why you were so surprised with how good value kind of some of the genuine parts can be.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them that you find online are just kind of being resold.
Yeah.
So they've got their profits on top of that, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely. Very well put. Thank you for your time, Aaron. Really appreciate that.
Right.
Thank you as well for keeping my car on the road. I really appreciate it.
Very welcome.
A week or so later, my cylinder heads were ready for collection in exchange for 1,000 sovs, which brings us back to the start of this episode, where my GT3 was fully laden with bits of engine and boxes of new goodies from Heritage Parts, Sharkworks and others, en route to Bahnsport, where we go through what's been bought so far and discuss what's happened with the cylinder heads, with the big question, can I reuse them? Right, Scott, we've got the heads back.
Cylinder heads fresh back from the engineering shop. So these have obviously been down, they've been crack tested to make sure they are salvageable and there's no damage that we can't see. They've skimmed the sealing surfaces where they mate to the crankcases. They've also skimmed the exhaust flange faces because they were quite nasty and pitted. They've done a multitude of thread repairs as well, so they've drilled out all of the sheared bolts. They've done an excellent job on them. They all look really nice and smart. A few of them, they've retained the original threads, which is really, really good. And I can see a couple of them, they've actually put helicoils in there, which again is not uncommon. So that is all good. What else have they done? They have cut and cleaned all the valves. And obviously we've supplied them with 6 new valves. So they've checked all of the valve seats and made sure they're all good. Cut all of those in, ready to go. And then also they have installed 6 new valve guides on the 6 areas that had the bent valves. So that is all basically sorted, repaired. So these cylinder heads now basically just need a really, really good clean. There's going to be loads of swarf, horrible metal debris where obviously they've had the machine work, the drilling, so they need a really, really, really good clean. Get rid of all of that debris, and then it's reassemble time with new valve stem oil seals. The valves can go in, and then these will essentially be ready to just bolt on and good to go. So yeah, all look really, really smart, all looks really, really good.
With the crack testing, how do they do it?
Oh, you're asking the wrong man.
Really?
Yeah, okay. So I think basically what they do is they put I think they put the dye on it, don't they? And it's not something I've ever done, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, they put dye in it and they put like a UV light in it. Capillary action sucks that dye in, so it highlights any stress fractures around all of the common areas that they go. But yeah, it's not something that I'm your man to ask for.
Yeah, no, that's fine. With obviously, it was good news that it came back as a pass on that, because
absolutely.
We were potentially going to have to be looking.
Yeah, exactly right. And we took them down to a place called DNR Engineering. So they're a really local, lovely engineering shop. They're actually the engineering shop that we used when I was back at Main Dealer. So they've done loads and loads of cylinder head work for Porsche over the time, and they have been brilliant. They're absolutely golden. We've never had any issues with them at all. So yeah, tried and tested engineering shop that know what they're doing is massively crucial and important as well. And they always do a really good job.
With the cylinder heads declared fit for purpose, let's take a look at what more than 10 large ones looks like in Porsche parts. Spoiler alert, it's a bit more than what's on the table here, though it still doesn't look like much, to be fair, which is slightly depressing.
So first up, we've got a lightweight ASCO Motorsport flywheel. So this replaces the dual mass flywheel of the standard variant, and obviously lightweight flywheel. It's a lot lighter, so less weight, for the weight that's spinning.
Because I purchased this via Sharkworks. I think it's 6 kilos lighter
Okay,
than
yeah,
stock. Decent saving.
And then paired that with a standard non-sprung clutch disc. So it's just a genuine Porsche 3-piece clutch kit with the friction disc, pressure plate and the release bearing. So that is basically ready to go to obviously renew your failed one.
There'll be more on this lightweight flywheel purchase, which was another grand plus, by the way, from a technical viewpoint in a future episode. This, incidentally, was the very first thing I bought for the rebuild, at least a fortnight before I paid for anything else. There's also been a massive order of parts come through from Porsche.
Absolutely. So come on over to the toolbox. I've unboxed a few bits and pieces. So this is basically phase 1 of parts delivery. So unboxed basically the majority of bits and pieces that we need. So we've obviously got the head gaskets, we've got new exhaust hangers for the silencers, fresh oil pump, lots of exhaust hardware, gaskets, cap bracket because yours had a fracture there. Obviously new plugs, inlet manifold gaskets, various gaskets for the engine, more seals. Got all of the chain guides, new timing chains, the chains for the between the camshafts. This is the intermediate shaft chain, chain guide bolts, rear main, front crank seal, new tensioners. The list goes on. We've got all new plug tubes and seals. We've got new fuel rail, new injectors, new oxygen sensors have arrived ready for the cats. We've got a complete new set of tappets, which will be going in. Crank ladder bolts, oil spray jets. We've got a full set of main bearings. So yeah, lots of parts to go through, which will obviously be going on the new engine. Yeah. So yeah, very exciting.
We've got most things, but not everything.
No, there's a few little bits and pieces. I've got a list of a few bits and pieces that we still need to get. There's a couple of little things like a water pump gasket we haven't got. We haven't got a gasket for the top of the oil pump yet. Various bits and pieces, but I'd say maybe 95% there.
My first visit to Bahnsport for this project was way back in early January. It was cold, dark and raining outside, an apt metaphor for where I was at mentally, to be fair, as the size and cost of the rebuild was brutally laid bare. You get by with a little help from your friends, and I'll chat about this specific point later in the series, but for now, as I'm releasing this video on Easter Sunday, I'll say this: Easter brings with it hope, renewal and new life. I'll have a bit of that in a lovely shade of Irish green.